Hey, JKK, I want to thank you for sharing part of your day with me. Ladies and gentlemen, we're done with week 13 and we are, 2 weeks away from the All-Star break, so that should be nice. However, there's still a lot of baseball left to go, and despite there being a little bit of a gap making for wonky weeks, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done, and we cannot take a break. Even though the players get a break, we as fantasy owners cannot take breaks. We have to stay on it, stay vigilant on the waiver wire, and most importantly, make sure we know who's starting, who's sitting, who's going bulk, who's gonna get the start but then only be in for an inning, because we don't want to burn pitchers, we don't want to burn starts, and for goodness sakes, we don't want to have bad decisions. But you all know that as fantasy owners. Duh, who am I talking to, right? Overall, week 13 was pretty good to me, despite there being one deep, dark, ugly, just absolutely embarrassing, demoralizing loss that we had. But you know what? It is what it is. Let's go ahead and lose week 13 instead of losing week 23. First thing we're going to start with this week is the Kent Murphy Dingers. And unfortunately, this is the team that lost. We go ahead and get out of the way. We lost 1-7. And it was to one of the worst teams in the league. So I'm thinking of this as his championship. I was his championship for the year because with 3 wins on the season, 4 wins on the season, probably gonna make a lot of noise in the playoffs. But hey, he beat me, number 1 team in the league. So now I'm number 2 with a 10-2-2 record. So that was frustrating. That was again humbling. But yeah, that was probably more frustrating than thinking I had Mackenzie Gore in and getting those strikeouts and then not having him in and just tying. But it is what it is, man. It is baseball. The top producer for our team was none other than Mr. Hunter Goodman. 4 home runs, 8 RBIs, like a 300 and some odd batting average. What's up, man? And that was the offensive production. Yep, here's the thing. I don't think he won this week as much as I lost this week. What do you mean, J Cake? It's the same thing. No. So my guys just flat out did not play. His guys flat out did not play. Both of us had very ugly stat lines, but he had a better stat line than me because he won. Again, 1 category to 7. So it's not like it was close. No. Well, he out-uglied me. Anyways, we go ahead and get to the pitchers that did well for me. Tanner Scott, Raleigh O'Brien, Logan Webb, and Dylan Lee were the only ones that did not give up earned runs. Yikes. As we move on to the other side, we're going to stick with the pitching. Christopher Sanchez had a bad start. This is like 3 in a row, buddy. What is going on with you? Because we were trying to catch up with wins and strikeouts at the end of the week, we had bad starts by Anthony Kay and Luander Avila. Yeah, it is what it is, man. Who thought that those two would ever be on any fantasy team? In any case, we also had a really terrible outing from Brian Wu. Okay, man, you're starting to kind of piss me off now. You go good, bad, really good, really bad, really good, bad, decent, really bad. Like, what are you doing, man? Like, do you remember how to pitch every other start? Because you'll pitch like a 7-inning, like 3-hit, no runs gem with 8 strikeouts, and then you'll go 4, give up 9 runs, or maybe not 9, but you'll give up quite a few runs, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is this the guy that I want? In any case, we also had really bad outings from relief pitchers Paul Sewald, who only pitched 1 or 2/3 of an inning this week and had an ERA of 40. Yeah, that wasn't helpful. We had Cade Smith that had 2 blown saves this week. Who else? Oh, Caleb Killian. 1/3 of an inning and you gave up 4 runs. Lord have mercy. And then the last subpar pitcher that had a really bad outing, relief-wise, was Kenley Jansen. I was so close to winning with the whip, which you go, oh, you still lost, right? But if I wouldn't have had those guys give up so many runs, I could have won ERA, I could have won whip, maybe wins. So I could have made it closer. Again, probably not win because my guys just crapped the bed. In any case, now the offensive production. Christian Yelich, we didn't start him too much last week. He also sat against some lefties, which is weird. Yeah, he had 0 production for me. Also, Zach Neto, .077 batting average, and you had 1 run for me. And then who else? Josh Young. Yes, I know it's Josh Young. 0 production and a 111 batting average. We'll be able to look at the adds and drops on the side of the page, but we're just going to go ahead and talk about this loss. Unfortunately, it did drop me to second. Unfortunately, it did give me my second loss on the season. And unfortunately, this was like the 7th or 8th ranked guy in the league. That stinks. That is very demoralizing, like we talked about earlier. But hopefully, I can bounce back from it. We were down 8-1 like Friday. Then we tied up Saturday. I'm like, okay, cool. And then again, we just fell flat. Unfortunately, this week I'm going against the 10th ranked out of 10 players in the league. So watch me have another sweaty with this guy. Now I'm going to be talking about the Cucumbers. This week we're actually going against the number 2 team in the league. As number 1, we had some home turf to defend, and yeah, we did so. Coming out with a big win, 8-2. I was pretty happy with everything. We led the entire week. There was no looking back. And the main guy I want to talk about is Brandon Marsh. Now, don't get me wrong. He's always been a decent hitter, like between 250 and 280. Nothing flashy, but he's a manageable service guy. Like he's an outfielder and usually like a number 3 outfielder. So we'll get you a few numbers here and there, 20 home runs or so and like 50, 60 RBIs and runs because he's in a high octane offense. Whoa, dude. 3 home runs, 7 RBIs, and my only stolen base on the week. So Brandon Marsh is absolutely having himself a year so far, hitting well over 300. We also had 1 home run each from Dylan Dingler, Taylor Ward, Wiley Green, and my boy Sal Stewart. So very happy again with their production. Dylan Dingler, my man. I actually did see him play in a minor league game, and I was yelling Dingleberry because I hadn't heard his name, so I was like, Dingleberry Dinglers. I think that's going to be my new fantasy team name, or at least one of them if I get a new team next year. So yes, love me some Dingleberry. Taylor Ward finally finding his stride a little bit. Still not sexy, still not hitting a ton of home runs. Not going to be anywhere near the 100+ RBIs you had last year, but thank you. Riley Green, finally finding a stride a little bit. You fell from your 300+ batting average. Now you're hitting like 280. So, yeah, you gave a little bit of batting average away. That's fine. But if we can keep hitting those home runs, or at least start hitting those home runs like you were last year, yeah, I would definitely appreciate that. And then Sal, big Sal Stewart, baby. I am so happy I was able to pick this guy up, and I'm actually going to try to get him in a few other leagues here and there. Maybe someone will be able to trade him to me. As we move on to the pitching, Bryce Miller had 11 Ks. Also did not have a great stat line. He had like a 4.70 ERA, so that's not great. But 11 Ks, not bad. We also had a gem from my man Logan Webb. Ooh, very happy, very smooth with that. We also had 2 saves each from Mr. David Bednar and Cade Smith. Despite Cade Smith freaking blowing 2 for me, so you could have had more, but whatever. As we move on to the other side, to the people that did not do as well for me, Jacob Wilson, you're hurt again. First it was your shoulder, now it's your thumb. Brother, heads up. We got cut bait with you, man. We also had subpar outings from freaking Brian Wu again. And Christopher Sanchez, again, is like your 3rd one. And by subpar, I mean like you gave up 2 runs, 3 runs. That's not great. Yeah, Brian Wu, that poor man started to kind of piss me off. And then we had blow-ups from Paul Sewald, Gregory Soto, and Cade Smith. So you all need to figure it out. As drops pretty short this week, we added AJ Smith-Shawver, who we've talked about last week, and we're really looking forward to. Did start his minor league appearances tonight, Tuesday. He was able to go, I think, 3 or 4 innings, gave up a few hits, struck out like 3 or 4 one-earned runs. So nothing sexy, but at the same time, very, very comforting to know he's able to get back up there, throw a few, I think 40 some odd pitches. That was good through 3. 41 pitches or 44 pitches through 3 innings. That's not bad. It's 15 pitches an inning, if that. So definitely good. It's only high A or single A. So, nothing crazy. But again, nice to hear that. And unfortunately, we had to drop Troy Johnson, who is finally getting some playing time, so we might end up picking him back up. But in any case, the Cucumbo's #1 in this league. I think I'm hitting at, let's see, 82, 49, and 9. Definitely liking the fact we don't have a ton of ties. But again, if we are going to have anything other than win, I'd rather be a tie. I really don't want ties. But in any case, now we're going to move on over to the Cheese Weasels. And this week we're sitting in 4th place with 100.5 points. We're doing a pretty good job at staying consistent between 3rd, 4th, and 5th place, hovering around 100 points and limiting the negative. Now, I'll tell you what I mean by that in a minute. The offensive production this week was very short. We had 1 home run, and that was by Taylor Ward. That's it. Moving on to the pitching, we had a gem from Logan Webb, like we talked about before. We also had a really good outing from Zach Wheeler. Both of them getting us wins. We had a hold from Mr. Jason Adam. We also had a save from Mr. Jason Adam, 2 saves from Mr. Alex Lang, and 3 for Jacob Latz. We did not have any losses this week. We did not have any blown saves this week. But we did have some misses. We did not start freaking Framber Valdez. Why would we? He's had subpar, if bad, outings. He was going against the juggernauts. No, not the Dodgers, the Yankees. And of course, he spun like 6 or 7 innings and limited the damage and got a win. His drops for the Cheese was very short and very similar to the Cucumbers, include a Rocky. However, this time we were adding TJ Rumfield and dropping Dustin May, because why would you do well against a subpar team? I don't know. But now we're going to move on to the Peach Creek Purgatory team, where we were ready to get back in the win column. And we absolutely did. Didn't take too much effort, but again, we had to mind the starts. We also had to mind any injuries, and we have a freaking whole roster full of IL spots. Heading over to the top producers, we talked about him before, and we're going to talk about him again. Brandon Marsh, you had 74 points for us. Mr. Ketel Marte, you had 63, and Otto Lopez, you had 57. Our top producer for pitchers was Kyle Leahy. Between 2 starts, he got me 51 points. That is not how you win games. That is not how you win weeks, but it did it for this week. Moving on to the people that did not produce for us. Lord have mercy, Framber Valdez. What do you mean? He did great against the Yankees. I didn't start him against the Yankees. Why would I start him against the Yankees? I don't know. He got 39 points against the Yankees. What did he do against the Astros? 8. Spencer Arrighetti Spaghetti, you got me 2 points. You're losing the touch, Spaghetti. And then Anthony K. Why would you have him on your team? Well, I'm kind of depleted with the injury. So, Anthony K., your first start of the week, which I did not start you because you were going against, I don't even know. You got 30 some odd points. Let me double check. 37 points, yeah. You know how many you got for me with your second start? -2. What the fudge? And drops did mainly include pitchers. We added Eric Lauer, Miles Nicholas, and Alan Rangel. And then we dropped Krista Peters, Alan Rangel, and then Kyle Finnegan, because you're pissing me off, dude. After this week, we were sitting at 11-2, still second overall. That's very disappointing because the 2 losses just absolutely annoyed the ever-living out of me. Strictly off of luck, I'm going to repeat it, and I'm going to absolutely die on that hill. But in any case, let's go ahead and get them their luck early on so that once we get to the playoffs, we're cruising to the ship. Next thing we're talking about is the Russell Mott Jim Jams team. And this was a sweaty for a little bit because I was actually going against the second ranked guy, the second or third ranked guy, and I was the third or fourth ranked guy. So I'm thinking, oh man, I really have to catch this guy. I can't fall any further behind, because if I fall behind, then guess what? If you're not fourth, you don't make it to the playoffs, and there's still half a season left. I don't want to risk it. That biscuit ain't worth it to me. I want to make sure I'm in the top 2 so that I don't have to worry about some half game tie because of a stolen base that should have been, indifference that cost me, right? In any case, we were able to come out with a win, 9 categories to 4 categories to 3 categories, and very happy with how things went. Wish we could have caught a few more wins. Oh my gosh, stolen bases will absolutely be the death of me. Notice how I said there should have been an indifference. Not that I'm saying it should have been this week, like that's not it, but I need stolen bases. We also needed more home runs, even though Mr. Hunter Goodman was able to help us out with 4 himself, 4 extra base hits, and 8 RBIs. Wilson Contreras also had 4 extra base hits, only 1 home run, and 6 RBIs. And then Mr. Brandon Nimmo also had 4 extra base hits, no home runs, but 5 walks, along with Lars Newbar, who also had 5 walks. And Mr. Nimmo added a stolen base for us, so thank you, sir. We have 3 extra base hits from Jung Ho Lee, Yandy Diaz, and my man Otto Lopez. Oh, I always knew you were great, Otto. I knew it. I'm so glad I kept you and I have you in multiple leagues. Moving on to the pitching. Bryce Miller, 11 Ks. Again, with the 4+ ERA, it's not great. We also had a gem from Slade Ciccone. Woo! Used to be with the D-backs, and now he's with the Indians, not the Guardians, the Indians. And he threw an absolute gem for me. Oh, so happy. Sticking with the pitching and also talking about some of the same guys, Mr. Alex Lang, Mr. K. Smith, and my boy Kenley Jansen all had bad outings in relief. And then as far as main pitchers go, Anthony K. Again, why would you have him on your team? I don't know. And Kevin Gausman. Again. Gauzy. What are you doing, man? And of course, I don't start you tonight, and you have a pretty decent start. Dude, I can't read you. Then as we move on to the hitters, Luke Keeschel and Dalen Lyle. No production. CJ Abrams, 2 for 17. Alec Bohm, 1 for 19. Moving on to the Astros, we added Alex Lang, Garrett Clevenger, Slade Ciccone, Anthony K, which, again, please get in my face. I'm so upset that Anthony K was on 3 or 4 of my teams this week, and he did so poorly. And on the other side, we dropped Lucas Ercich, Jesus Sanchez, Slade Ciccone twice. Also, Kiter Montero. Dude, you surprise me every time you go out, but you don't get enough love, like any love really, and now you're putting the bullpen. Last team we're talking about is the South Harmon Institute of Technology. This week was a Schweddy, and yeah, this is also super frustrating because this guy was inactive, did not change anything. I should have lost, but I tied 8-8-2. Our top producers did include Mr. Freddie Freeman with 18 total bases, 1 home run. Wish we could have had more, but hey, we'll take the 1. Not bad at all. 5 RBIs and 4 walks. Then Mr. Jake McCarthy with 17 total bases, also 1 home run. Able to outdo Mr. Freeman with 1 extra RBI with total 6, and had 2 stolen bases. We also had 16 strikeouts from my boy Brandon Woodruff, so woo-hoo. On the other side, we had slow weeks from Mr. Salvador Perez and CJ Abrams. Salvi was 4 for 27, and Abrams was 1 for 17, so not great. We also had a bad start from Mr. Christopher Sanchez and Anthony K. Lord, how many teams is he on of mine? Did I really think he was going to do that well against the Royals? Jeez. Then, of course, we had bad outings from Mr. Paul Sewald, Mr. Cade Smith, and unfortunately Rico Garcia, because I guess he's forgotten how to pitch, so you're gone. As drops, we're going to be talking about them now. We're not going to talk about all of them, but we're going to talk about 2 major adds and drops. The drops first, Mr. Eugenio Suarez. Dude, you're too much of a swing and miss kind of guy. When you hit the ball, it goes a long way, but that's the thing, you don't hit it a lot. Then Mr. Spencer Strider, going to be out until the literal last week of the season, and might be back in the playoffs, but it's not going to be helping me. It's going to be helping the Braves, so we'll see how that goes. The ads, Mr. Jake McCarthy has found new life in Colorado, which is good for him. And then also AJ Smith-Shawver, really big fan of his, mainly because he's going to be coming back and going to be playing on a really good Braves team, so if he comes back, Acuna comes back, we have Hurston back. I'm not a Braves fan, but shoo. Overall, South Harmon Technology is 116, 80, and 38. Don't like the losses being so high, but the fact that we have 38 ties does technically give us another 19 wins. So that's nice. I don't want to rely on the ties. I want to absolutely just get the wins, right? But we'll see. We'll see. I'm not complaining. Now let's move to the people I think should add. Very short list of fielders now, because there's only one, Trevor Lornock. He is hitting almost 290 now. He has 44 strikeouts on the season. Okay, why is that important? Because he got 29 walks and 27 RBIs. Now, of course, those are not world beater numbers. That's not anything crazy, but I do like the fact that he's not too far apart with his walks and his strikeouts. Again, 290 does not hurt anyone at all. Good enough for like a 3rd or 4th outfielder, putting in if someone's out, like Alec Burleson was out tonight, could have plugged and played Mr. Trevor Lornock. Now we're going to move over to the pitching. Going to be hitting a lot on holds, not really a ton on saves because there's not really a whole lot there. First guy, Edward Brizardo. He's got 17 holds for the Mariners and has a sub-2 ERA and a decent whip. So, again, that bullpen, once it gets past the pitching, which has not been sexy this year, which I talked them up so much last year, past 2 years actually, but they're just not doing it this year. That bullpen though, they're doing some work. Spire is back, Brash is out. That's unfortunate, but you have Farrar, and then like we talked about, Edward Bizardo. Very, very good number of arms in that bullpen to get to Munoz, which still not crazy about Munoz, but hey, give me some holds, baby. Next bullpen guy we're talking about is the Indians, Hunter Gaddis. Now, he came out of the gate looking bad. ERA whip still not looking great, but he's got like 14 holds already, maybe a save or two here and there, but he's been scoreless 13 of his last 15 appearances. That's got to be something, right? You have to at least take that into account because Indians aren't scoring a ton of runs. Their pitchers, they're doing their job. Not sexy, but they're doing their job. Mace Ume and Gavin Williams. But, again, Hunter Gaddis, gonna be one to step in if Mr. K. Smith has, okay, he's wavering a little bit. Let's give him a little break. Gaddis gonna be that guy. Someone else who could be stepping into, not full-time closer, but hey, I'm gonna take over to give you a little break. In the freaking Cardinals bullpen, we talked about him before. You got Ryan Stanek, not Ryan, and George Soriano. Now, Stanek has a 5+ ERA with a 1.5 whip. Not pretty, not what I want to see. But you have to also look his body of work. He does have, I think, 15, 16 holds, something like that. And he's scoreless in his 12 of the last 15. Again, not bad. Soriano, on the other hand, has 13 holds, has much better ratios, and scoreless in 11 of his last 15. So, something to keep in mind. I want Riley O'Brien to keep doing his thing because, well, I have him in a few leagues, so let me keep getting those benefits. We're going over to the starting pitching. Slade Ciccone, gem last week against Seattle. This week got the White Sox. They're dangerous. They also put up 20+ runs in a game last week, so that could be scary. Next, Kyler Montero, gem against the Houston Asterix, and this week he could have the Yankees. But how bad the Yankees are hitting, especially this past weekend against the freaking Red Sox. And of course tonight when they couldn't get anything going against Tariq Skubal, which that's understandable. I don't know. Kyler Montero might be a name to throw out there. Hinch said he's going to be moving to the bullpen, but we know that starting rotation, Flaherty, not sexy. Mize coming off IL. I mean, who knows what's going to happen with, some of the other guys. Is Verlander going to come back? When's he going to come back? So Kyler Montero is someone, if you have a deep enough bench, go ahead and keep him, or at least try to keep him. And the last guy we're talking about is Kyle Leahy. He started for me twice last week, got me 51 points between those, so that was good. This week, he's got the Cubs on 4th of July. I don't know how I'm going to go with that one because PCA is finally deciding to be a sell-high candidate. Look for that ESPN and or Yahoo article that says that. I'm not a big fan of him, but you can be. 5 hits over his last 2 games, which were 11 and 1/3 innings. He did have 8 strikeouts, so that's good. But he also did walk 5, so that is not great, but not the worst thing in the world. When your hits and your walks are the same, I am concerned. But again, add and or plug and play at your own risk. That's going to do it for the recaps. That's going to do it for the people I think you should add. And that's going to do it for this week in this fantasy world of mine. I'm excited because this week is 4th of July. I'm off Friday, so I'm going to be hanging out with my kids. Super excited to have another day off. And I hope you all have a safe weekend. Please, for the love of God, have a safe weekend. Don't do anything crazy. Stay out of harm's way. And I am looking forward to seeing you all back next week to talk about how week 14 goes for us. More wins, more cruises to the championship. That's what we're talking about, baby. This is JK. I want to thank you for sharing part of your day with me.